Ladies and gentlemen, according to the National Review, brilliant author Andrew McCarthy writes, Durham's investigation is not over. After 3 years, it may be getting very interesting. Really interesting. The last paragraph of his article, and the article will be below. Let's connect some dots. Tech Executive 1 is still the subject of a criminal investigation. Durham is still investigating. That means additional indictments are still a possibility. There's going to be numerous indictments. The prosecutor is not down to a report writing yet. A big part of what Durham is still investigating is whether the Trump-Russia information from Sussman, Tech Executive 1, and the Clinton campaign was not only weak evidence, but a willful effort to hoodwink the government into conducting criminal and foreign counterintelligence investigations of Trump. Well, of course it was. And Andrew McCarthy's a brilliant man, but there were also people within the United States government, Strzok, McCabe, Clapper, Brennan, who were more than willing to just utilize any pretext, any reason at all, no matter how absurd. So they were in on it too, although now Durham is doing something brilliant. He's pitting the government that actually, at one point, was working with the Clinton campaign and the Democratic Party to funnel nonsense dossiers, absurd allegations throughout government agencies and begin investigations of Trump. Now what he's doing, Durham Probe Special Counsel, is the two sides that were once in unison, he's pitting them against one another. So the Democratic Party and the Clinton campaign in 2016 utilized government officials, essentially utilized the United States government to investigate their direct political rival, Trump, and they were in on it together. Now you have even a special agent of the FBI testifying in Michael Sussman's trial. Possibly, almost certainly. Christopher, so the Durham Probe Special Counsel is reserved the right to get a special agent at the Federal Bureau of Investigation to actually analyze all the data obtained by surveillance of Trump Tower, his apartment, the executive office of the president while he was president, and even a healthcare provider. Now, see, if you tell this to, if you try to explain this to morally superior, wonderful, highly educated liberal Democrats who are always just so apoplectic whenever it comes to Trump, you try to explain this to them, it would be you'd have a better chance explaining physics to your house cat. They'll just give you this glassy look, or they'll get into the typical hysterical reaction. Trump deserved it. Oh my God, he's horrible. They won't realize, they can't see past their disdain and contempt for his personality. And a great percentage of people who don't like him actually wouldn't care if they were finally convinced that the Democratic Party set up and framed Trump with the help of government officials and media. At the end of the day, they wouldn't care. They would say, good, he deserved it. So you're not talking about like people with some kind of ethical or moral or some kind of value system. They don't judge themselves in the same way they judge their political opposition. But here you have, this is a really interesting article, and the last part of it is the following. This comes against the backdrop of the Steele dossier, the preposterous set of false intelligence reports also produced by the Clinton campaign via law firm one, which retained Fusion GPS, which retained Christopher Steele, who recruited the aforementioned Danchenko. So, that's a great, think of that. The epicenter of all of this is the Clinton campaign. By the way, hit subscribe to this channel right now. I do a little exercise for you, ladies and gentlemen. On the Stock Market Crash channel, I pressed 100-pound dumbbells 8 times, chest press. So just flat bench with 100-pound dumbbells. I did that 8 times today. I was at the gym, and I was thinking of maybe uploading it on this channel, but I uploaded it on the Stock Market Crash channel below in the pinned comment. So subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. By the way, to Michigan Grandma, thank you so very much for your super thanks. And the super thanks is next to the like and the share button. Thank you so much. So kind of you. So sweet of you. And to Artisan Shrew, thank you so very much for being my newest Patreon. So kind of you. To my new Patreons and to the people who support this channel via the super thanks or just by sharing the segments, thank you so very much. You're so amazing. You're awesome. And ladies, thank you so very much. And everybody who supports the channel, thank you. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. I'm thinking I might do away or do something different with my satire and comedy channel, because I don't know if people are really getting it. So I might do something different. We'll see. But the Stock Market Crash channel, look, 1,000 points down the other day. It's going to collapse, unfortunately. But that's a whole other story. So hit subscribe there. I've been telling people that since October. Read my Federalist article below in the pinned comment. To my new subscribers, thank you. I can't thank you enough. I'm almost at 200,000 subs. It's because of you and everybody who's been here since day one. I'm not part of like a big, conglomerate or group on YouTube. I'm doing this all myself, and I'm swimming upstream, and I've been telling you things that are taking place. We're going to have a devastating market crash, and we're seeing the beginning of that. I've been telling people that the economy is going to take not just a downturn, a major, major downturn. And we're seeing that also, unfortunately. I told people years back that Clinton would lose to Trump. So I'm not clairvoyant. Sometimes I get it wrong. But even when I get it wrong, I still have the pulse of what's going on. So hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. The Durham probe is going to indict, eventually, Clinton campaign officials. I don't know who, but anyone involved. Or if they manage to slither away from legal jeopardy, which I don't think will take place, you're going to have attorneys like Michael Sussman that'll get indicted especially from that law firm. Let me just read you this. The campaign operatives pressed the dossier on the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which pressed it on to the FISA court, as well as on to the State Department and the Central Intelligence Agency. Again, is also said to have regarded the Trump-Russia allegations as nonsense. And finally, Durham already concluded that all roads lead to the Clinton campaign. That could spell big problems for Mrs. Clinton and her minions if Durham ultimately concludes that the information was proffered with intent to deceive the government. With intent to deceive the government. If you lasted this long, I should have just started 8 minutes ago. That's the most important. Every one of my YouTube segments, I read from reputable sources, National Review, wonderful publication, and Andrew McCarthy is a brilliant man with intent to deceive the government. They did intend to deceive the government. What Durham and, media is playing this game with John Durham, the Clinton campaign, James Baker, the top legal counsel at the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Comey, Strzok, McCabe, Clapper, they're all playing now this game. It's almost like a farce. They're saying, well, we would never investigate an incoming candidate if we didn't think that we were, our suspicions were legitimate or that, it was national security. I mean, we were told that he was installed by another country. What were we supposed to do? Well, the whole thing was absurd. You have text messages already from the tech researchers, from Tech Executive One, from Michael Sussman, texting the FBI official, I'm not here on behalf of anybody. Yes, you are. He just lied about it. Okay, these people you have researchers, you know what, we have to do this for VIPs, and we have to use every dirty trick we have, or every trick we have, and this is not going to fly in the face of scrutiny. You have Peter Strzok saying, we'll stop Trump. I mean, it's right there in their writing. I mean, you don't have to go far. They've literally talked about it. So now, with Trump, anything under the sun he's linked to, and what Democrats have managed to do is take 30 years plus of whitewater to private servers and Clinton scandals, Uranium One, and condense that within 4 to 5 years with Trump. They have managed, the same people now who despise Trump are the same people who would embrace his rear end if they had met him in 2014. Every single family member and friend that you have who has disowned you or is thinking of disowning you because you support Trump or DeSantis, like myself, or if, Tulsi Gabbard is fantastic also, if it was just Romney versus Tulsi Gabbard. But I like DeSantis, I like Trump, anyone opposed by the Lincoln Project people. But anyone who says, oh, I don't like DeSantis, I don't like Trump. If they had seen Trump or met Trump in 2014, they would embrace his rear end. Because media told them not to like Trump, they don't like Trump. Because it's interesting, the people who look at Donald Trump and they say, oh, this man, they can't delineate, they can't separate the media obsession, revulsion of him and who he is. They can't admit that the Abraham Accords, first president to step foot in North Korea, record low unemployment, First Step Act, hundreds of thousands of new manufacturing jobs. I mean, all of these great things that he accomplished, they can't admit that it was good. They can't even admit that what we're seeing now with runaway inflation and energy costs and geopolitical nightmares is bad. They can't even admit that. But, I mean, you have to understand, the person that despises Trump was watching The Apprentice for a decade. They were watching The Apprentice. And they were watching him on Letterman and, on late night when he would go on. They were fine with him being on cameos and in movies. I think he was in Home Alone. And so they were watching the Barbara Walters interview decades back. But you have to ask yourself, well, how did this all change? It all changed because they needed a crutch. They needed some excuse not to like him. Now, Democrats despise anyone who could take political power from them. Anyone. But you add his personality, okay, but the main reason they have such contempt is they truly believe that he was installed by the Kremlin and that he's an authoritarian who speaks to the minds of impressionable bad people. And the opposite is true. I mean, my God, moving the embassy to Jerusalem, these are all amazing things. Obviously, the far left doesn't like it. Democrats don't like any of this, even though they vote or they do the same things in terms of policies. They just market them differently. But anyway, hit subscribe to this channel right now. Of course, there was an intent to deceive. With intent to deceive the government. Of course, there was intent to deceive the government. Andrew McCarthy's a brilliant man. National Review, great publication. Thank you so very much. Hit subscribe to this channel. If you want to see me press 100-pound dumbbells each hand, go to the Stock Market Crash channel below in the pinned comment. Subscribe there also. And we're almost at 200,000 subs. People, tell your friends about the channel. Let's get to 200,000 subs. The next live stream I'll have, unless, well, hopefully I'll have a live stream before then, but I'll have a monumental live stream when we hit the 200,000 subs. It'll be a huge event. Thank you.